Well, if you think anti-Semitism has been consigned to the past, think again. With the AFL in Victoria forced to investigate disgusting social media commentary aimed at a Jewish teenager, Harry Sheasel, who was picked at number 3 by North Melbourne in the latest national draft, has told the ABC Today that the abuse was a new and disturbing experience for him. But in a sign of his grit and determination, he said that he doesn't really feel or doesn't really let this stuff get to him. Instead, he says he tries to focus on what he can control. But he shouldn't have to, should he? The League's Integrity Department is investigating as to whether those who made the comments are genuine social media accounts and if indeed they are club members. Dr. Dvir Abramovich is the Anti-Defamation Commission chairman, and he joins me now from Melbourne. Dr. Dvir, thank you for your time. Take us through what happened to Harry Sheasel.
Well, we have this 18-year-old man, a young man, who simply wants to play the football, the game that he loves. And there was a story in The Age about the fact that he is the first Jewish AFL draftee this century. And a torrent of anti-Semitic abuse was poured, all this poison was directed against this young man. And look, Peter, I'll just say this, that the only surprise is that anybody was surprised by these latest incidents, given the terrifying surge and normalization of anti-Semitism in this country over the last 5 to 6 years. And anti-Semitism is not history. It didn't die in the bunker with Hitler in 1945. It's current affairs, it's news. And this societal disease, which has real-world consequences, this beast which is staring us in the eye, is become a permanent fixture of our daily life. And the climate for Australian Jews has become very, very hostile. This is no longer something that's happening in another country to some other people. It is alive and well here in Australia. And if I could just say something that might make some of your viewers feel a bit uncomfortable, but I think it needs to be said. I've lived here for more than 35 years. And something in the city that I love has changed. And something in the nation that I feel blessed to be part of has shifted. And I think we have to sort of press the snooze button and to realize that we've got a serious problem on our hands. And that if Jews are not safe in this country, no one is safe in this country, because where anti-Semitism dwells, all forms of racism flourish.
Oh, you're very everything you said there is very true. I mean, that's been the portent overseas, I have to say. History shows us that example. Tell me more about what you're picking up. I mean, I've noticed, let's say, Greens candidates, some pretty horrific stuff that they've said in the past. They're not really censured for it. They're kept often as candidates. They run for elected office. Often they get there. They're not alone in that. There's some horror players on the fringes of both the left and right of politics. What specific things are you picking up that give you great concern?
And look, for somebody who fights anti-Semitism 24/7, I have to say that I'm troubled and I'm alarmed. And just going back to the example of those Facebook users who were posting all these horrific things, you know, making jokes about gas companies and about the Holocaust, talking about this young man, Harry Sheasel's height and nose, and, you know, resuscitating old stereotypes and blood libels about Jews being stingy. I think the most troubling thing here, Peter, is this. It seems that all the moral guardrails have dropped off. These people were posting all these disgusting, revolting things openly, not hiding their identity, not trying to conceal who they are, which shows you that the dam has been breached. And we've had terrifying incidents of Jewish students being harassed and victimized at schools. We have a court case at the moment at Brighton Secondary College where some horrifying tales have been told. But we're also seeing Jews being attacked on the street. We have Jews on social media being singled out and targeted. And yes, anti-Semitism comes from the left and the right. We have some elected representatives, but also public figures using Israel as the big Jew. And I think Jews rightly feel like they're under siege, like it's open season on the Jewish community in Australia. And it's almost as if, you know, the genie of anti-Semitism has been let out of the bottle, as if the sewer the lid has been taken off the sewer, and all this poison that's been bubbling underneath the surface is now flowing onto the streets. And this is a problem that we can't run or hide away from.
Well, just quickly, what can we do? I mean, other than call it out and make the point in the media, what else can we do?
Well, I think the first thing that we have to do is to acknowledge that anti-Semitism is corrosive to democracy. It's not just a Jewish problem, it's a problem for every good man and woman in this country. We have to push back, we have to challenge it, no matter what the source is. I think the Jewish community needs allies. We need the non-Jews to come and stand shoulder to shoulder with us in this battle. And I think the most important thing is obviously educational programs. The Anti-Defamation Commission runs a program which is delivered free to schools here in Victoria and next year across the country called Click Against Hate. It's about civic virtues, but it's also inculcating within young people the understanding that bigotry and hatred robs them of their humanity, and that their Jewish classmates need their support and need their help.
Dr. Dvir Abramovich, thank you. Difficult conversation, one we've got to have. Thank you for being with us tonight.